Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo flawless on the Master Nightfall Insight Terminus with Warlock. For my loadout I'll be using the Shade Binder. Here are the fragments and abilities I'll be using throughout this video. For my loadout I'll be using the 7 Seraph Officer Revolver. Next I'll be using the Truth Teller. For my heavy, I'll be using the Lament. For my helmet, I'll be using the Stag Exotic with the 10 Recovery, Double Sword Ammo Finder, Shield Break Charge. For my gauntlets, I'll be using 10 Recovery Unstoppable Hand Cannon with Grenade Launcher Loader and Global Reach. Next, I'll be using 10 Recovery Concussive Dampener, Void Damage Resistance, Protective Light. For the legs, I'll be using 5 Intellect, Sword Scavenger, Taking Charge, and Insulation. Next, I'll be using 5 Recovery, Passive Guard, and Bomber. Alright guys, so in my previous video I did mention there was a lot of teleportations and glitches towards champions and cabals and ads, and of course Bungie will soon fix it. And still it is a very struggle for this week to do solo Nightfalls with the Insight Terminus. In this video I decided to do the solo flawless on the Warlock stasis, and of course the same loadout as the Hunter, but with a different subclass and character. As you guys know, this barrier champion will teleport all the way from the back, which normally is supposed to stay in this little cave. Since we're on Warlock, I am going to throw the stasis turret, or I like to call it the stasis minion, where it's going to freeze any enemies that are nearby. That way I could use the Lament and take them down quickly. Once I do take down the barrier champions, I'm going to run away and just go and take down the third barrier champion. In this room there are about 3 barrier champions. Sometimes when using a Lament, you can just do your charge attack in the air, especially on the third champion, so always be cautious when dealing with the third one. So in this room, we're going to deal with one barrier champion where it likes to stay in the back, or if RNG is not your best friend, which happened to me, it's going to push forward and try to shoot missiles at you at long distance. Since we're on Warlock, I am going to take down all these cabals and of course throw the stasis turret of the minion to freeze these guys. That way I can take them out easily and to use the Warmind cell to destroy it. Now I've been having a lot of bugs and glitches, and this run could have been much more faster, but to be honest I just did not want to farm this run because every time I do, RNG is random, unpredictable, and I really hope they can fix it, especially towards the Grandmaster for next week. So I was just shooting down ads, trying to make a Warmind cell, and all of a sudden a Warmind cell was floating in the air, and there's proof that I just cannot spend too much time with this Nightfall this week. Too many bugs, and you can see there is a Warmind cell floating in the air trolling me. I'm trying to destroy it. It's like, not today, Blitz, catch me. And I'm trying to, right? And once I did take down the Warmind cell, then I can clear down all the ads. There is proof that there are bugs and glitches throughout this entire Nightfall. Much worse than before if I've ever seen in my life. Once I take down the barrier champion, I just get the hell out of there, and of course there will be a couple of ads to where you can just easily take them down with your sword, with your kinetic weapon, or you can just make a Warmind cell and destroy it. Another thing I like to say is the reason why I'm using Protective Light is just for the boss. I wanted to use Loosened Blade, but I think survivability is way more important than high DPS. So now we're going to deal with this area where you can actually skip Unstoppable Champions. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to skip them throughout this footage, but if you do leave one ad up and just freeze them or blind them long enough, you can skip the 2 Unstoppable Champions in this room. So I was trying to skip the Unstoppable Champions, but it was not working out as I wanted to. What I had to do here is just staggered Unstoppable Champions, and you can see that sometimes it doesn't work. And I had to guard my life to claim this plate. That way I can run back to the map and then deal with them with the Lament. The Unstoppable Champions do like to push you where you can get burned and get heavily damaged. Once you do stagger the Unstoppable Champion, you can just use your Lament, you can charge your Lament, and then do around 4 slices. Well, the 4 slice and dice for the Unstoppable Champions. Now, when using Loosened Blade, you can actually use 3 slice and dice with the light attacks once you charge up to deal with Unstoppable Champion. But since we don't have Loosened Blade, unfortunately, for this video, it would take some time to deal with the champions, but even without Loosened Blade, the Lament is very, very powerful. Now we're going to go to the next area where we're going to deal with more champions, more barrier champions, and a couple of unstoppable champions. Now this room is actually the worst part. I'm not even talking about the boss area, which that's like much worse. So in this room, I'm going to throw the grenade. I'm going to use the stasis minion to freeze the cabals and the ads, and of course the barrier champion up ahead. You can actually stand here and then use the truth teller to blind them and to take them down. Once I do clear out all the ads, then I'm going to deal with the barrier champion. Now the barrier champion's RNG, sometimes it likes to be in the middle of the map where the ads are, or it just likes to be all the way from the back right there, and then just wants to troll you and of course do the sneak attack to kill you. Now the reason why I froze the barrier champion is because when I was doing DPS with the Lament, that barrier champion teleported on top of the rock from the far right or left, and it was a bit frustrating, to be honest. If you do get near the boss or shoot him from far away, then we're going to deal with the first phase of the room. The first phase, we're going to deal with one barrier champion and unstoppable. When killing the unstoppable champion, you will make another wave of ads, and of course another barrier champion will appear. In this room, I decided to kill the unstoppable champion and quickly went to the back of the room. I will be also throwing a nade to make the stasis minion so it could do all the dirty work for me. And I'm not even joking, this turret is so powerful. Honestly, it's just so powerful and quite funny that this little turret or this minion can freeze and of course damage the ads and can help you deal with the cabals and of course the barrier champions and all champions overall. If you are on red health, since we're using the stack exotic, you can get infinite healing ribs, especially if you're on red health. Now over here, I was trying to make a Warmind cell to clear them out quickly. You can see that these cabals love to throw nades, and I almost died there. Unfortunately, I was being a little reckless. So if ads do charge at you, if you do see a lot of grenades, just move to the far left side. Do not stand where I am if you see 5 grenades thrown at you, including one attached to your body. So once I cleared out a couple of ads, I decided to take down the barrier champion. Of course, my minion, stasis minion, is also helping me, freezing all the ads for me. And Jesus Christ, I want to give it a name, but I'm just gonna call it the stasis minion, or the turret. I was just looking for some ammo, and once I do, I'm going to deal with the anti-barrier champion. Up ahead, I like to throw the grenade on the upper platform from the right side where you can see the barrier. So my stasis minion is going to freeze the gladiators, the cabals, and of course the barrier champion. So once he freezes the barrier champion, I'm going to charge Lament and do the slice and dice and take him down quickly. My stasis minion will freeze the gladiators, and then I could just easily finish them. And of course, pick up the orb charge. Well, orb charge. So now we're going to deal with the second phase, where we're going to deal with 2 more barrier champions, additional 2 more again, and 1 unstoppable champion. For this method, there are many ways to deal with this method. I decided to just go all the way from the back of the map. And I'm going to use the stasis turret on the minion to do all the dirty work, to freeze all the cabals and the champions, and of course the snipers. So I'm going to throw the stasis minion over there. I'm going to pop a healing rift just in case it gets a little too aggressive. And of course, shoot some truth teller or grenade launcher so I can blind them and take them down with the kinetic weapon, and hopefully I can make a Warmind cell. If you do make a Warmind cell, you can actually use your truth teller to take down the Warmind cell to clear them down, or you can use a kinetic weapon. So once I did clear down a couple of ads, I decided to wait for my nade to make another stasis minion or turret, and use my super to clear down all the ads, and of course freeze the 3 champions once my super is nearly over. So you can see here that the barrier champion was on the far left side, then he teleported from the right side. So you can see there that there are so many bugs, anything can happen throughout this entire run, each run, and you already saw proof that the Warmind cell was flying in the air, floating in the air, just trolling me trying to destroy it, but it was not working out too bad. Once we kill the unstoppable champion, there will be another waves of ads. When killing the unstoppable champion, you will activate waves of ads. When ads do appear, I like to go back here, and again I'm going to throw the stasis minion to do all of my dirty work. Turret of the minion's gonna do is freeze all the nearby ads. I'm going to spam the grenade to blind them, and of course do DPS. When you do freeze the ads, you get a damage boost for around 10 seconds. So once you do clear down the ads, you can pick up the orb charge and the barrier champion will appear. you can easily kill him with the Lament. As you can see, you can charge for the shield up, and then do around 4 slices. 4 slice and dice, and then with the charge, with the heavy attack. Once I kill the barrier champion, there's going to be 2 barrier champions which they love to teleport left and right. Over here it could be RNG, to be honest, so I decided to throw the stasis minion just to freeze them, that way they won't teleport everywhere and they won't sneak up on me. Once I take down the first barrier champion, I decided to just use the truth teller to take down the adds, and of course the gladiator or the slicers. Now these slicers can actually push you, so always take them down, use your finisher or use a sword if they are up too close. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to blind them and take them down, that way they won't interfere my DPS when using the Lament. Another method you can do is you can run up to the boss and pop a healing rift as well. But in this video, I just wanted to play more safer, take my time, and just clear down the adds and of course the barrier champion. Once I do take down the barrier champion, I'm going to pick up the last arc charge or orb charge, and we're going to go resume to the next area. Now I was trying to do the orb trick in this room where you swap weapons when dunking the orb, like the Pit of Hersey. It doesn't really work. It doesn't work in this, and I thought maybe I could skip this part and then just do that method to skip the champion, etc. But it didn't work, unfortunately, and it made me sad. So I threw the turret minion. You can actually throw your nade and make a minion turret or stasis minion to freeze the goblins and the minotaur. Once you do dunk the second orb, you can proceed to the next area once you clear down all the adds. Now through the boss room. So the boss room is actually going to be probably the most difficult part, especially the 3 plates, which I'll be talking about very soon. So in my previous video, I was taking advantage of the invisibility on Hunter. For the Warlock, I'm going to take advantage of the healing rifts. And of course the Lament, since the Lament can heal you when you do charge up the sword and do the slice and dice method with the charge and then light attacks with the heavy, etc. Now going through here, there will be a couple of goblins, but they're very harmless. You can easily take them down with the sword or with the kinetic weapon to make orbs if you do not have charge of light. Or you can make a Warmind cell to destroy it and clear them down. So there is a lot of bugs throughout this entire boss room. Even the boss loves to teleport left and right. And I'll be explaining some stuff that I didn't do and why I didn't do it. Especially with the DPS of the boss. So you're gonna see the boss, he's going to take down a couple of adds, and I didn't shoot any of them, so I didn't get any points. So immediately always go to the middle plate, and I'm going to use the stasis minion to do all the dirty work. And it's going to freeze a couple of adds, and of course, unfortunately, the stasis minion has a beef, doesn't like the boss, so for some reason it likes to try to freeze the boss, even though it's immune. So when dealing with this plate, you can pop a healing rift if they're close by, and of course the stasis turret or the minion will freeze a couple of adds. That way you can capture the plate much easier. I prefer to go to this area, which is very safe. The boss likes to shoot this void fire, which it can easily melt you down, even with void resistance on the chest plate. You can still get killed very quickly. You can also jump on the platform as well, but sometimes the boss's attack with the void can make you fly in the air. Now you can see there that the boss does like to teleport and jump, or likes to stay in place. It's a bit RNG. So when doing enough DPS at the boss, there will be waves of ads that you need to take down. In this video, I decided to go with the safe strat. Now the aggressive strat would be popping a healing rift and doing DPS at the boss as much as you can, and then pulling back to this area. But the thing about doing the healing rift and DPS element is sometimes this boss teleports. So if you do pop a healing rift, the boss will teleport from the far left to the right, and then using your healing rift will be pretty much useless and a waste of time. It's just a bit RNG, especially with this boss of teleporting. You can see there it's just dodging, being so ridiculous. And of course, there'll be more waves of ads. When waves of ads do spawn, you can throw the nade and make it into a turret, the stasis minion, and you can freeze the cabals and the ads. That way they won't spam nade you or spam their arc attack. As you can see here, they like to shoot right in this area, and you can pop a healing rift if you are in red health. I was using my kinetic weapon to try to make a Warmind cell so I can clear down the ads much more quicker. If on red health, you can actually pull back to this area, but be aware of the boss where he can spam his void fire at you and you will need to dodge them, and be cautious of where the boss is. When everything seems safe or semi-safe, I like to go back to this little safe area and clear down the cabals. Another thing I like to mention is this boss is very tanky, and it always has been tanky ever since Destiny, or whenever this Nightfall was available, etc. The boss does like to sometimes appear in front of you, as you saw there, and then just goes back in the middle. You can clear down the ads and then do DPS with the boss. You can take as much time as you want, since the boss just likes to stand there and then just spam the void fire attack. And like I said before, when he spams his void fire, you cannot go through that Pacific wall where I was standing before. I was just looking for some ammo, scouting. When you do scout for ammo, the boss can sneak up on you and try to push you, or it can kill you. Now what I wanted to do over here is I wanted to do DPS at the boss and make sure all the ads were clear so I can capture the 3 plates much easier and not deal with a lot of ads in the way. So like I said, depending how much DPS you do, another wave of ads will spawn. So I was just trying to mainly use my kinetic weapon to do DPS at the boss. And I did not want the boss to teleport in the middle. Well, fly in the middle where the 3 plates will activate, and then these ads are still here, which wouldn't be a good idea because we want to make sure all the ads are clear before the boss will jump in the air, floating where we had to capture 3 plates. So this is going to be the last wave of ads before we had to go to the second boss phase where we had to capture the 3 plates. Now I was actually doing some test runs, I had to spend some hours, and I think I found a really cool way to capture the plates easier. But I'll be telling you that very, very soon. Another thing I'd like to mention about the 3 plates is there is infinite waves of ads, especially the specific ads that you kill, and it could be a bit tricky, and it has changed since the season of Worthy, where you had to leave the gladiators and then waves of ads won't spawn. But it seems the ads are way more aggressive. They just spawn so fast for the season of the Chosen season. Once I clear down the ads, I'm going to carefully do DPS at the boss. So what I'm trying to do over here is trying to do DPS at the boss so he can fly in the air and I can capture the right plate quickly as possible. So once he teleports, I'm going to capture this plate and of course throw the stasis minion to freeze the ads. That way I can capture the plate much more safer. So when capturing the plate, always blind them and of course pop a healing rift since it's gonna get a bit dangerous. So once I capture the first plate, I decide to go on the second plate as quickly as possible and use my super. Now this method is very, very dangerous. So when clearing the ads, there will be infinite waves of ads, especially when capturing the plates. Another method you can do is you can just wait for your super for each plate and you can clear down a couple of ads. So right now I'm just charging and I'm trying to capture the plates, and of course these void cabals do love to kill you. Another thing I like to say is always use your heavy attack when dealing with the void cabals, so their backpack won't fall down and explode on you and that way you won't die. So now I'm just trying to claim this plate. And in this video I was being a little reckless. I was feeling confident that I can capture the 3rd plate very soon once I capture here. When killing the void cabals, by the way, you will spawn more waves of ads. So the best method when going one by one through this plate is clear down the gladiators and the dogs and leave the cabal and the void cabal alone and then just freeze them and capture each plate. That way the dogs won't spawn and the gladiators won't spawn until you kill the void cabals and all the cabals as well. So now I decided to capture 3rd plate and I was feeling a little bit confident, so you can see I was being reckless. What you can do over here is you can wait for your super and then capture the plate. But first clear down all the dogs, clear down all the gladiators, freeze the void cabals and of course the remaining red ads, and then capture the plate. So you can see here that I'm spamming the turret stasis, that way you can freeze the ads and of course popping a healing rift as well. So always be careful when capturing the plate. I'm just taking advantage of the healing rifts, and once I capture all the plates I decide to pull back to the back of the map. And then clear them down. So I was just scouting because if there are still dogs in this area, then I need to clear them down first and then do DPS at the boss. So now what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to see if there's any heavy ammo, just making sure there's no ads spawning, looking left and right. once everything seems to be good, I decided to do DPS at the boss. Now, like I said, you can also pop a healing rift at the boss and then just continually do DPS at the boss, where you do light attacks, heavy attacks, and then do light attacks again when on a healing rift. Like I said before, the boss is RNG. Sometimes it just teleports from the far left and right, where you don't have a healing rift, and adds can spawn as you saw there, depending how much DPS you do at the boss. Waves of adds will spawn, and they can easily melt you if you're not being careful with them. When the boss does his void attack, I always try to jump, but not high jump, since we do have adds that can shoot you in the air. I decided to throw the stasis minion or the turret, that way you can freeze these adds and I can take down the boss. During this phase, I like to clear down all the adds first and then do DPS at the boss. For me, it just seems much more safer than just popping a healing rift and then just doing light attacks and heavy attacks. Even with passive guard, the adds can melt you pretty quickly, which is very unfortunate. And like I said, there are glitches and bugs where these adds do teleport left and right. So I just did not want to rely on RNG, because anything can go wrong if the adds teleport on you, or the boss just teleports far left or right, and then I waste a healing rift when doing DPS at the boss. Once I cleared out all the adds, then I'm going to do DPS at the boss. Now, there's going to be a couple of cabals with shields, which sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes they can one-shot you and push you off the map. So always be careful with the cabals with the shields, where they just randomly one-shot you. In legend mode, master mode, even regular strikes, they just one-shot you and then you're like asking yourself, what the heck happened? Decide to pull back, and then there'll be more waves of adds as always. So the more DPS you do, the more waves of adds will spawn. I like to pop a healing rift and then just spam the truth teller to blind them and to easily take them down. So basically the pattern throughout the second phase of the boss is do DPS at the boss, pull back, clear down the adds, and then DPS the boss. Rinse and repeat. In this video, I just like to go the slow and steady wins the race. There's really no timer, and plus we already have 100k, so you can actually take as much time as you can throughout this Nightfall. You can see that the stasis turret or the minion is actually very helpful. I honestly like this turret. I might use it again in the future. It was very interesting that you can actually freeze a lot of enemies. So over here I decided to pop a healing rift and I'm going to kill the boss. I got a little impatient. I'll be honest with you, I got really impatient. I just got tired of going back and forth and decided to just kill the boss quickly as possible. So there you go, guys. We finally beat the boss. Thank you so much for watching. And yes, I'm probably gonna melee the boss. I think I got a little upset with him. Yeah, I did. I melee him. Honestly, there are too many glitches and bugs that Bungie will fix very, very soon. It's not really fun farming a very clean, faster run, relying on the RNG throughout this entire Nightfall. Hope you guys will enjoy this video. I had fun using the stasis Warlock and of course the stasis minion, doing all the dirty work for me, especially on the champions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.